out soon. We're just gonna... What happened? No way!
In case you had trouble following that clip, streamer and VTuber Megalodon received a suspension from Twitch on the day of a very important reveal of her new VTuber avatar. In response, she was confused and said, "No warning, while I was still live, I followed the rules, what's the problem?" Followed by this tweet later saying, "I have this little pit in my stomach after all this. I just put all this work for a whole year into this debut." So this seems like a fairly easy thing to sympathize with, right? A Twitch streamer was following the rules and got suspended on a very important day for her. It looks like Twitch is being pretty cruel here, which begs the question, what was she doing during the stream? Well, let's take a look.
Booba Inspector, helpers? Helpers? Any Booba Inspectors in chat? Did they get bigger? I low-key can't tell. Like, actually. It feels like they might have, but I might be placeboing myself. Great! Thank you so much for the 25 gifted!
I had to censor that because it's probably against YouTube rules, but essentially what happened is that she zoomed in on her boobs, and when she got a donation, she started jumping up and down to showcase the jiggle effects of her new avatar. But that's not all.
Look at how educational this is! Guys, I didn't know Twitch could be this educational, I'm not gonna lie. Man, it's a great day to be existing in VTuber land. Holy wow, you can really see the education on the physics for the thighs this time. Look at, are you being educated as hard as I am right now? Are you? I need to make sure because I don't want to be the only one learning all this knowledge, you know?
Is it really a mystery why you got in trouble? The funny part is that she ended up getting community noted for being a liar. Now I get that shaking an anime girl avatar around isn't the most degenerate thing on the internet. However, understand that platforms like Twitch are shared spaces with minors, and a 13-year-old should not have to be exposed to numerous sexualized videos, a number of which that are basically OnlyFans advertisements, just so they can see their favorite Minecraft streamer. And that's all assuming that this 13-year-old is not actually an 8-year-old who is lying about their age so they can watch that Minecraft streamer or watch Splatoon. The point is that there's a place for this content that's not a shared space with kids, and it's called Pornhub. Why don't these girls go and stream their lewd content there? Technically, it ranks higher than Twitch and webpage visits. Well, the reason for that is because they know there's more competition on Pornhub, and they won't get as much exposure, so what they do instead is push the limits of the Twitch community guidelines, and a lot of times go over those limits, and when they get in trouble for breaking the rules, they turn into a bunch of crybabies.
So, like, you know, there are instances where I'll extend some sympathy to VTubers who get banned if it's, like, really not egregious at all. But a lot of the time, they're basically asking for it, you know. The kind of key for a lot of these streamers who want to get attention from doing degenerate shit is, like, kind of riding that line right between when you're going to be just controversial. When you're going to be just controversial enough on Twitch, you make it a temporary ban, but not controversial enough, you get a perma ban, right? That's the line for them.
And then that temporary ban is used to stir up a bunch of drama that results in a 1 or 2 day vacation for them and a ton of new followers when they get back. That being said, let's get into the cope. Megalodon says on Twitter in response to the ban that she toggled her bikini outfit on when she was in the pools and hot tub section of Twitch, and underboob was not toggled on. Why was that a feature in the first place if you aren't doing sexualized content? But essentially, Megalodon's avatar had multiple outfits, and she said she was following Twitch policy when she changed her avatar into a swimsuit. This is kind of like a letter of the law versus spirit of the law. So the spirit of that Twitch policy is something like, if you're streaming in a pool, you aren't going to get banned for wearing swim attire while you're in that pool. Now, what some opportunistic women have done is take the letter of the law and used it to put blow-up child-sized pools behind them so they can stream at their computer in essentially their underwear or less and say that they're at the pool. And Twitch staff is full of sexual degenerates, so they do jack shit to enforce what I imagine was the intended reason for that hot tub and pool policy. Not only that, but they even created a separate porn addict coomer section for pool and hot tub streams. Personally, I don't know why the Twitch girls even bother blowing up a pool. If Twitch is not going to enforce anything, then they can just as easily put a glass of water on their desk and call that a pool. I mean, that's basically what Megalodon did when she said, "But I put water in the background so that she could do stuff that appeals more to coomers without violating the rules." Anyway, Megalodon goes on to rat out a fellow streamer for doing worse than what she did, because that stream did not have a glass of water on her desk or a blow-up pool or a green-screened cave with a small pond, and she's wearing a top that barely covers anything. Honestly, I appreciate her service. Ban both of them. But of course, that's not what happened, and Megalodon's ban wasn't even a big deal. It was like a 24-hour slap on the wrist. Twitch bans when it comes to sexualized content are basically a joke. And I mean, there was a girl who was full-on having sex on camera on Twitch, and they gave her like a 1-week ban followed by a bunch of new followers when she got back. What a punishment. So I don't even know why Megalodon complained about getting a full day off with no long-term consequences. But to my dismay, I found out that the only reason that she got in trouble is because she didn't tag her video properly as sexualized content. So this stuff is perfectly fine on Twitch, a website that minors use where they can see tons of lewd content in a place that their parents probably thought was safe and didn't think to block because it's just a bunch of people playing Minecraft, right? I actually had to warn a number of parents with young kids who did not know that Twitch had pornography and lewd content on it during the whole artistic nudity scandal where people said, hey, these censor bar streams are kind of messed up, maybe they shouldn't be allowed, followed by Twitch saying, not only are we not going to ban these streams, but we're also going to create new rules that are so vague that they will allow tons of people to openly draw pornography on our website. I am genuinely shocked that nobody got fined or went to prison for an act that probably exposed tons of kids to some pretty degenerate material just based on the screenshots that I saw people take when the event happened. Not to say that this is the only problem with Twitch. When Twitch isn't exposing teenagers to porn or gambling, is that still allowed on Twitch? But when Twitch is not exposing teens to inappropriate stuff, it's busy exposing them to violent radical leftist politics that have gone completely unchecked because they banned all of the opposition. So it's just the people who say the craziest shit that are still allowed on Twitch. You have Hassan, who famously said that America deserved 9/11.
America deserved 9/11, dude. Fuck it. I'm saying it. Like, we fucking totally brought it on ourselves, dude. Holy shit. We did. We fucking did. In a video game, whatever, hypothetically, politically, we fucking did, man. We did.
If that wasn't bad enough, he also interviewed a terrorist on stream to talk about his favorite anime.
This is a stupid question. Okay, you can preface it with that. Does he know what One Piece is?
أكيد يعني منذ الطفولة وأنا أشاهد ون بيس لوفي.
Is it Luffy?
Yeah, he said he's been watching it since he was a kid.
No way!
Yeah.
That's sick. Yes. That's fire. That's so fire. Oh my god. Dude, we think the Houthis, Ansar Allah, is doing what Luffy would do.
Get it? Because they're both pirates? What a cool thing Hassan did by speaking positively about a terrorist and then relating him to a beloved anime character who is the hero of the story. A lot of the radical politics really seem to come from Hassan Piker's group chat. You got Noah Samson defending a woman named Professor Flowers who is willing to use genocide to solve racism, or that time he defended a known doxer named Bad Empanada. Then there's Frogan. I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen this clip where she said while stuffing her face that American soldiers deserve to be traumatized by war.
I have no pity at all for any fucking soldiers. I will never have any fucking pity for any fucking soldiers. U.S. military? Boo fucking who? I hope you get PTSD.
Yeah, real cool. We have people who are being sent to largely pointless wars because some rich elite wants to sell more Pepsi or some shit, and she wishes mental illness on people who got crippled or saw their friends die. Speaking of someone who laughed at a person for that, last but not least, we have Twitch streamer Denims, who essentially laughs at a different streamer, Tectone, who tells a story of how his dad got PTSD after a friend of his was killed, and he himself was horribly injured.
My dad's deployed 17 times. My dad has served for over 40 years in the military. All my family has served, and seeing my brothers before the war and after the war, they became different people. My dad also has PTSD, and it's very awful to fucking see. And they have to relearn that they're safe now. They have to relearn that they're fucking safe.
What do you mean your dad had to relearn what was okay and what was not okay?
Time you're at war.
What does that mean?
Get to feel safe. My dad was in the bathroom stall. One second he's brushing his teeth.
In the stall?
The next second, he doesn't know where he is. He can't hear, he can't see, and his friend is gone. As well as the majority of the flesh on his legs, as well as the entirety of his ear. Gone. Have you seen my dad? He's pretty much half robot at this point, in case you guys don't know. He's pretty much half fucking robot. Because a mortar hit the bathroom where he was brushing his teeth and killed one of his best friends.
Okay.
And to see
Yeah, that's a pretty horrendous story, and you can see that Denims is smirking and laughing and has no sympathy for a guy losing his friend while brushing his teeth, followed by her lying about Frogan apologizing.
Okay.
And to see some fat bitch go live on the internet and say, I hope they get PTSD. What a horrible fucking thing to say. And now, it would be great if she ever does show true remorse and say, I apologize. That was a moment of ignorance.
She literally apologized.
Stupid for me to say. Would be great. But instead, all I've seen is her doubling down. And
She
saying, no,
apologized.
you're misunderstanding me. What a joke.
Dude, these people are such fucking liars, dude. These people are such disingenuous liars.
It's an absolute fucking joke.
Keep in mind that I'm not really cutting much here. The moment where she laughs and calls him a liar happens directly after Tectone told the story about his dad. Also, Frogan didn't actually apologize. In fact, she doubled down on this whole thing just to make sure that people knew that she wasn't sorry about what she said.
Any other motherfucker, you're joining them, you're like, oh my god, I want my fucking Camaro, no student loans. Fuck you. I hope you get PTSD. And they posted it in my head. I'm like, base? Based? Like, am I supposed to be like, I'm not walking back on it. I still fucking agree with it. Base?
Now, she did write a little something on Twitter, but if you actually read her air quote apology, you can tell she's not sorry, as she had to not only block comments, but preface the tweet with, "Look how evil the US military is," followed by her apology not being for what she said, but for how she worded it. So, horrific dishonesty from Denims in her report of this moment. This Frogan tweet definitely was only written because people got mad at her, not because she actually had remorse for what she said. Though this defense of Frogan should be no surprise, because when Denims is not pirating Avatar: The Last Airbender or Kitchen Nightmares for views, she's busy being a part of the America Deserved 9/11 squad.
America deserved 9/11. I can't disavow facts, man. I can't disavow reality.
Not to mention that Denims, who apparently is Twitch's largest female political streamer, not that long ago, offered to pay someone to kill a former employee of Blizzard named Mark Kern because she was mad about some take that he had during the Gamergate 2 stuff.
Listen, I'll up the number, okay? $30K to anyone who'll make this dipshit disappear and make Eve's breasts bigger. Okay, you have to do both. All right? Because then it's a win-win for me. I get more breast, and I don't have to see that moron on my timeline anymore.
Now, a lot of people are calling this girl Denims the female Hassan, and personally, I think that's an insult to Hassan's intelligence. She makes him look like a genius, and by that, I mean she'll just flat out say the quiet part out loud.
And I do wish Keffels had the same opinion. I mean, I wish all leftists had the same opinion.
Yeah, I don't think Hassan would be this transparent about his actual beliefs, but allow me to add context to this. This was in a stream that Denims did where she reacted to a YouTuber named Mutahar who made a video on a transgendered content creator named Keffels. In that video, Mutahar discussed how Keffels scammed a bunch of people out of something like $100,000 and then blew all of that money on a new streaming computer and drugs or something. But that's not actually the worst of the crimes that this person has committed, because Keffels is a child predator who helped traffic drugs to kids so they could get synthetic estrogen to transition, which will sterilize them without their parents' permission by funneling them to a service called Otokonoko Pharmacy. For those of you who don't know, in Japanese, Otokonoko means femboy or a guy who cross-dresses when it's spelled like this with the character for daughter. Anyway, I'm not sure if this is YouTube friendly. You can just Google the evidence if you need it. But I will say that the packaging contains the image of a little boy with long hair who is blushing and wearing very revealing clothing that a child should not be wearing, followed by saying something sexual and inappropriate. So, massive child grooming scandal. You know, make sure you don't tell mommy and daddy kind of stuff. And shockingly, it seems that nobody was arrested for this. In my opinion, everyone involved with trafficking these hormone replacement drugs to minors without their parents' knowledge should be serving very long prison sentences. So understand that when you watch this next clip where Denims defends Keffels.
So, Mutahar made this video, he captioned this Twitter post, uploaded a new video regarding a serious fraud of an activist known as Keffels. Over an hour of deconstructing her various lies and examining her terrible lies will prove to you why she is a danger to people that they represent and those surrounding them. Okay, now, let's talk about a couple things. I'm only interested right now in talking about the thumbnail. Okay?
What? Never in my life have I seen such an obvious sidestepping of the actual issue. I understand that this person committed fraud by stealing $100,000 and trafficked drugs to children that will sterilize them, but this thumbnail is like super offensive. She got outraged because the thumbnail artist drew an uglier Cuffles. I mean, could you be less obvious that you're unwilling to criticize a literal child predator simply because they're on the left?
My perspective is I don't like to spend my time going after other people that are on the left, right? And that's just because I think my time is better spent making fun of people on the right. You guys can disagree, and I'm not saying that no one should ever do this, and I'm not saying that I think it's bad to do this. I'm saying I don't like to spend my time fighting with people who are saying that they're on the left. I think it's much more effective for me to make fun of people on the right instead of, because every minute I'm spending making fun of somebody else on the left, I could be making fun of someone on the right.
This bias is so strong that it should be a crime. Not really, I'm just joking, but you would think that Kevels has blackmail on Denims or something, based on how hard Denims is caping for this predator.
Does she spend her time making YouTube videos promoting right-wing ideas? No? Okay, great. I'm not spending my time going after this person. That seems stupid. That seems really dumb.
Why would you defend this person? This is insane. Not just because of the whole drug trafficking scheme, but it's also pretty well known that those drugs weren't sterile. Whoever made them got hair in the bottles, and considering that they were injectables, a non-sterile injectable can cause a serious infection. But bringing this back to the main topic, it's not just about the VTubers who do lewd content or sell creepy body pillows for adults, or Twitch streamers who use the website as a billboard for their OnlyFans account. Seriously, why are people not calling this child grooming? Especially for the streamers who have been doing it long enough for their underage followers to become old enough to subscribe to their OnlyFans. Women like Amaranth or Morgpie, who are clearly pushing the line of the Twitch rules so they can get as pornographic as possible, are genuine child predators because they are doing this on a website that shares a lot of its space with children when they could easily go to a space that's for adults. I mean, imagine if it was a bunch of dudes doing this in front of kids. I don't see how everyone was up in arms about Colleen Ballinger and her really cringe ukulele apology, yet these people don't display a tenth of the outrage for multi-millionaire streamers using a website where people play children's games to market their pornography so that they don't have to face the competition on Pornhub. Now, I understand that Twitch doesn't allow you to directly link to your OnlyFans. It's probably just a way to exonerate them from legal liability, but you can just put up a link tree or a website on Twitch that links to your OnlyFans, which only adds about half a second of an inconvenience, and a lot of the girls will advertise by using language that is designed to show you how to easily find their adult content. I don't know how this is legal. So it's not just the girls who do this stuff, it's also people like Denims who outwardly defend them. A while back, Shuanhead made a video calling out some of these problems with Twitch, and this is how Denims reacted.
If your problem is with Twitch having content on it that's easily accessible to kids, that is sexual in nature, then you should have been perfectly satisfied when they updated their algorithm and stopped putting that content on people's home feeds and started putting that content with like mature tags, and you have to go and look for it. You should have been satisfied with that.
Yeah, it's not enough. All you have to do is click the Just Chatting section and you'll see women doing sexualized content pretty quickly. Here's a screenshot of me scrolling through the Just Chatting section for probably a millisecond, and I see this streamer with 1,800 viewers who is thirst trapping and advertising her OnlyFans in the title. Keep in mind that I'm not logged into an account. Then there's this Korean streamer who's doing a stripper dance. I didn't have to log in to see this. I didn't have to say I was 18. There wasn't even some sort of safe search that blurs the thumbnail by default, so I don't see this kind of content when I scroll down. And by the way, YouTube isn't perfect on this either, but at least you have to know the specific search terms to find pornography on this website. It's not something that you're going to bump into on accident just by navigating the site. The difference between that and Twitch is that I'd always known that Twitch had pornography on it, even though I never really used the website. However, with YouTube, it took me over a decade of regular use to learn that there was adult content on it. The increased difficulty in finding sexualized content on YouTube is going to prevent a lot of kids from stumbling upon it on accident when they're young. Not to mention that Denims is fully coping here with how easy it is to find inappropriate streams on Twitch.
If you have an issue with naked women making softcore on a website full of children, you're the problem. How does the overall well-being of society affect you, bigot? Most of the internet seemed to agree that this Twitch thing was wrong, but there were a lot of people mad at me and others for pointing out the obvious.
That was like 5 leaps there. That was like 5 leaps. You want to see how much of a non-issue this is? Go to Twitch right now. Here's my Twitch homepage. Stop. Let's see what we got. Let me zoom out.
There's no lewd content on Twitch? Meanwhile, within the first second, she passes by Invader V, whose content comes with this warning when you click on it. It's not a huge barrier, you just have to click yes, but it's still inappropriate content. Then she scrolls by this channel that has more sexualized content than I saw from Invader V, but had no maturity filter on it. In fact, I clicked on a number of things that would qualify as worse than Invader V without being logged in, and I was never asked to age verify for them. So Denims actually scrolls past 4 different channels that I noticed that are displaying lewd content. She reminds me of that infomercial lady who is excessively bad at using common household items to make whatever product they're selling look better. And what I mean by that is that she's feigning incompetence here to make it look like Twitch doesn't have a problem.
This one is fair. Did you see how far I had to fucking scroll to find one? Guys, I saw a woman wearing yoga pants and a woman wearing a bunny suit and fishnet. There are literally thousands of channels that are live every single fucking day. And out of all of the channels, there's been what? One that's maybe a little too far? Come on, there's gotta be better things to complain about. There's gotta be.
I mean, it only took you about 30 seconds to find something on a front page that you said contained no adult content. Also, it was at least 4 channels, not 1. Yes, the yoga pants one counts. But more importantly, there should be 0. You shouldn't be allowed to do this in a space where children are present. There's a reason why you aren't allowed to go into a strip club until you're 18 or 21. But the more you put this inappropriate stuff in shared spaces with kids, the easier it's going to be for them to access it, and the more kids will be exposed to lewd content from a young age. Also, I can imagine the fact that Denims has an OnlyFans account where she does lewd cosplay content, and the fact that she's friends with some of the child grooming porn streamers probably doesn't generate any sort of bias on this topic from her. Though I will say, just to add some charitability here to Denims, during the middle of the Shoe on Head stream, she did say that Pornhub is causing a lot of body dysmorphia, as well as unrealistic expectations where viewers will compare themselves to male porn stars who can last an obscene amount of time to the point where it's most likely painful to the women they're working with. Meanwhile, the reason the guys can last so long is because they're on Viagra. So, good take there. People need to think about where their expectations are coming from. Moving back to the anime stuff and why I've grown to dislike a lot of the anime community as I get older, despite the fact that I've watched it my entire life, while I do like the storytelling medium, what I don't like is how increasingly porn-brained anime has become since isekai got popular after the success of Sword Art Online, particularly when it comes to sexualizing children or underage characters. Sword Art Online isn't the only popular isekai that sexualizes middle schoolers or younger. No Game No Life sexualizes children, Mushoku Tensei has some weird scenes, and there are also a number of dog-whistling shows like Shield Hero that don't do anything explicit but conveniently have the main hero with a party full of little girls, one of which who insists on sleeping with him in the same bed. Also, there's a different hero in that show who is a literal pedo. It's not just Shield Hero, though. ReZero has a lot of lolicon dog whistling too, as at least up until the middle of Season 2, none of the child characters who get any screen time are male. One of the child characters is just randomly naked in multiple scenes for no reason. They could have easily animated her with clothes on during those scenes, but don't worry, she's 400 years old. Last, there's this inappropriate relationship that the 17-year-old protagonist has with a 12-year-old girl. Now, normally, you would think that this show having multiple scenes like this is not that big of a deal, because children romanticizing their older peers is not uncommon in real life, and the main character is very clearly not romantically interested in her, so my initial opinion on this kind of content wasn't as pessimistic. But then you go on Twitter and criticize Lolicon and see that it's blatantly obvious that this stuff is in the show because certain fans are fetishizing it.
Boo! Seriously? You in for a fight? Are you serious? You looking for a fight with that sign? Fetishizing lollies? Pedophilia? You really looking for a fight? Seriously?
Now, some people on the internet might say, It's just a drawing. No one's getting hurt. Well, for one, sexualizing children is disgusting whether it's a drawing or not. And I don't think that dog whistling shows like ReZero and Shield Hero are all that much better morally. I also think the hypersexualization in anime in general is affecting people, and it's affecting people to the extent that they are so porn-brained that, like Twitch streamers, they don't notice how inappropriately they're behaving in public spaces where children are allowed. Early porn introduction is not just something that weirdos like Chris Tyson do on Discord. Stuff like this happens at anime conventions pretty frequently. For example, here's an anime convention where artists were selling lewd photos of men and women right out in the open. Many of those pictures only having small, pasty-like stars to cover up their private areas. Unfortunately, I didn't get a picture of it, but one of these displays was right in front as you walked into the exhibit hall, meaning at an all-ages convention, porn was one of the first things that you could see, and these kind of displays are not that uncommon at anime conventions. Now for a second, I want you to look at this image here. Most people, outside of radical leftists, think this kind of thing, or the much worse things that happen at pride parades, are pretty inappropriate. However, when the same kinds of things happen at anime conventions, nobody seems to notice. It is very common for people to carry signs that say, "I'll step on you for $5. Well, that's technically a sexual favor, and if they actually got paid $5 for it, that's prostitution. In a public space with kids. Speaking of Megalodon, I don't know if she charged for it, but she has provided this service at TwitchCon, which allows 13-year-olds. And she's not the only Twitch streamer that's done this. Amaranth is famous for doing this type of thing as well. Now, personally, I think I have a fairly moderate position on this. If you want to have your furry anime convention with guys wearing Party City maid dresses, or girls doing Kill la Kill cosplays with barely any clothes on, then by all means, go ahead. Just make it 18+. If you want to watch porn, rot your brain, and damage your ability to have sex with an actual person, I don't care. Just keep it on the adult websites and not in the mixed spaces. Keep it away from kids as much as possible in the hopes that they don't become addicts like many adults are today. And stop making anime that sexualizes children. But it's so ridiculous that there are so many simple changes that we can make to keep tons of kids from getting access to this stuff, yet nothing really gets done. Everyone wants to say that it's only the parents' responsibility, or it's the corporations, or it's the government. It's not just one of those things, it's all of them. It's all of our responsibilities to work together to keep this stuff away from kids for as long as possible, so they aren't getting access to adult content at like 7 years old. When people realize that this is a collective effort, we'll actually start making progress on this issue. Anyway, thanks for watching, follow me on Twitter, and I'll see you in the next video.